Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Prodcast. Thank you for watching us. Today, I'm joined by the talented photographer Diego Fontecilla. I think I said the name with a good Spanish. He's originally from Chile, but now lives in Lisbon, in Portugal. So today we are going to talk about a bit of his career and mostly his part here in Portugal. Diego, how are you?
I'm okay. Thank
you.
you.
Good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you ready for my questions?
Maybe.
No, it's going to be easy.
Let's see.
So, you were born in Chile, but now you live here. You do a lot of different work, traveling, editorial, documentary. You've done a bit of everything. With PSP, you work more on commercials.
Mm-hmm.
But how has been living in Portugal shaped your style of photography?
All right. So I moved actually to Portugal 3 days before COVID hit. So I got right straight into pandemic. I come from a very big background of landscape and expedition photography. Coming from Chile, surrounded by nature, like we're spoiled by nature. So a lot of the work that we do there were very nature related or documentary related. Coming to Portugal has been a little bit of a shift in my career. 2 or 3 years before that, I started doing much more service and commercial photography. So once COVID hit, of course, we couldn't get out. Nature in Portugal is quite different. It's not as diverse as Chile. And I did focus much more onto commercial. One of the things is my languages. I speak several languages. And I've been able to seamlessly work with different productions and TVCs. And that comes probably from the nature world also, because you have to be ready for any situation being out there. So I think that it was kind of a symbiotic kind of lifestyle and work style that I could probably create or offer to the production companies here in Portugal, something that they needed. And it was like kind of right on time also.
And what about Portugal is very, nowadays we say, Instagrammable because it has cool spots and beautiful locations. Do you think Portugal offers something that other countries don't offer for photography? Or what is the most distinguished thing Portugal has that photography could be interesting in?
Definitely one of the highlights of Portugal is the light. Okay. Light-wise, the amount of light that you have, the amount of time of light per year that you have, and also the urban landscape mostly in Portugal, or even villages or cities, there's a very monotone pattern of colors, like a lot of whites or a lot of very light color pastels painting. And also with the traditional calzada portuguesa that is very white. That refracts the light in so many ways in the urban landscape that allows to manage light very well. It's super bright. Even in dark days, it's still going to be kind of bright. So it gives this kind of contrast to the action that is happening in the city or in the urban areas. Very, very nice. Depending on the season of the year, spring is probably my favorite season to shoot outdoors. Because you got much more wildflowers around. The greens are very, very bright. And the contrast with we could call it a backdrop of dark clouds with the sun at the south gives such a beautiful light to the scene that the contrast of it gives, coming from Chile, for me it's like kind of wow, like you can see a little bit this depth that gives you, I think it's just light. The light of Portugal is brilliant.
Thank you. You also worked a bit in Spain, which sometimes people, try to mix Portugal and Spain, but it's still kind of different. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the main difference between the two countries, even though we are very, very close?
I think if you're very specific on what you need for your production, Portugal is no mistake. I think it's very specific on what you can have and it can deliver that very easily. And it's a little bit less diverse than Spain, but also weather in Spain might be a little bit more tricky, potentially. It's also colder, so it's not as nice to work there sometimes when it's very early or in winter or very late. Or I think one of the aspects, weather-wise, is much more stable, Portugal. It's not as cold. In summer, it could get really hot, but you can manage that very well.
And perhaps Portugal, because it's smaller, the locations are closer. And Spain.
Yeah, also that. I mean, when we speak about Spain, I mean, I shot a lot in Barcelona. Barcelona is quite diverse in its area itself. Portugal could be mistaken by some foreigners, probably like another state of Spain.
Yes.
I understand why, because, again, like each area of Spain has its own characteristics. Portugal is very characteristic on itself. But yeah, within 2 or 3 hours, you have a very diverse and still production available landscape where to shoot. So location-wise, it's quite nice in that aspect.
Do you have any Portuguese locations or hidden gems that you have as your favorites?
Hidden gems are hidden and secret, so I'm not going to tell those ones.
Not today.
No. I do love the Azores.
Okay.
The wild Azores is quite nice. I spent 5 months there in 2021, and it was super, super nice. And it's a very different Portugal, of course. Also, for me, anything that kind of takes me like kind of back home to Chile, like resembles a tiny bit of Chile, is gonna grab my heart very well. So there's a little bit of the desert in the Alentejo. There's a little bit of, or the Algarve, we can call it. Maybe the waterfalls in Jerez. Could also be a little bit. Hello.
Hello. You want to come in for the last question? We have a special guest. So, there are a lot of different places, but yeah, something that reminds you of Chile, it's going to be warmer in your heart.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for one of the last questions before the challenge, what is the most memorable production you had with PSP, and why? It can be.
Yeah, actually, it was the one we worked together. I think Ecolab was a very challenging last-minute call from the production team. They needed the flexibility. They needed me to be in charge of it. So I was quite grateful that I was given that flexibility to run my own team, my own work. It was very challenging for TVC because it was a follow-up.
We have many different setups where they use the product and.
Yeah, so I had to Diego. I remember Susana giving me complete freedom. Diego, go ahead, do your stuff. I cannot know about you, so I trust you. So I think that's one of the memorable or special for me is mostly because I was given the trust to take care of the stills. We pretty much with anybody knowing that I was actually doing that. So and that was very well delivered. So that was good.
Yeah, it turned out really well. And to finish off, I have just a special challenge for you. If you imagine a picture that represents Portugal, it can be something out of your mind, doesn't need to exist. What elements does it have? What's the image that screams Portugal? It can be something that you already know or a picture you already know, but what pops into your mind?
It pops a backdrop of dark clouds with a foreground of a very steep road of cobblestones, but with bright light, very long shadows early in the morning. I think when you have those backdrops and the light that you have in Portugal, the shadows, I just love shadows. So if I can add shadows to that scene, that's perfect. And you have the dark backdrop. It's interesting because it's dark, right? But it's still like, it empowers so much the foreground and the action that is happening when you have this backdrop of a dark cloud. That I would say it's kind of going uphill, cobblestones, very bright light behind the subject, and a dark background, still with some clearance of sky, and a lot of white around.
So white is our color in Portugal. You say it's the color that defines Portugal. Light, not necessarily white.
Not necessarily white.
Okay, Diego, thank you so much. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And next month we will come back with another guest. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Francisca.